All right, Big Apple basketball means everything to me, honestly. As a untouted senior coming out of Springfield Gardens High School, my senior year was in shambles because I had no direction on where I was going next after I graduated. And I had one game on my schedule, which Jason saw me the year before and took interest in the way I played and decided to put my school, which was known as a hostile public school. That led me to playing one of my best high school games ever. And I was offered multiple scholarships maybe 5 days later. And before that game, no matter how good I played, there was not one college coach knocking on my door. So anytime I think of Big Apple basketball, I think of like the light at the end of the tunnel. Everything that I've ever experienced at that time, the heartaches, the tears, the jealousy that I have of other players that had schools. It took one person to see me play and one opportunity that he gave me that changed my entire life. I ended up being an all-time leading scorer in Hofstra. I ended up getting drafted and having a really good professional career. And I always credit it to Big Apple basketball because that one game put me on the map. Before the Big Apple tournament, like I said, I was playing really well around New York City, but my name didn't really have a buzz behind it. And it created a lot of self-doubt. And there was a lot of days where I didn't want to continue playing basketball because I felt like my body of work didn't give me the accolades I felt I deserved. I always credit Jason because there was a guy, Tom Konchowski, that a lot of people needed validation from, and I really, really wanted it. Really, really wanted it. Never met Jay a day in my life until actually the next day after the Big Apple tournament where we got to talk briefly. And Jason was the validation that I needed that got me to where a lot of people never been. So I really appreciate Big Apple basketball for that.
The first time I met, Coach Jason Curry, which I still call him to this day, and Big Apple Basketball was 2004. This is my middle school year. This is eighth grade going into ninth grade. And next thing you know, Jason invited me over to come work out. And I remember Jason being very adamant about not cheating the workout, right? Not finding a shortcut for it, make sure the form is proper, making sure you're really going through the motion of each workout and not rushing through it. And I think back now to like my day-to-day life and how much of an importance that is, right? To be able to ensure that you're doing everything the proper way with the proper form in order to get the proper results and not necessarily rushing through it just to be able to say you did it, right? Eventually, as I got older and, I was going towards the end of my high school career, I approached Jason about wanting to figure out how to actually develop a career out of basketball. And he suggested that he was going to connect me with one of the editors at Slam Magazine. I was not expecting that next thing you know, he's going to give me the number and the email of the editor at Slam Magazine. And next thing you know, I'm actually having an interview with Slam Magazine a couple weeks later in their offices in Midtown while I'm still in high school. I remember getting a little worried and being like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I'm Slam Magazine worthy right now in terms of being able to sit in these rooms and have these conversations and pitch myself. Jason had reminded me everything we had done on the court, the drills, and how all of that still applies to everything else. And it gave me the boost and the confidence to be able to tell myself that I was ready to have these conversations with these big sports media companies, right? And I met with Slam Magazine a couple weeks later. What started as a conversation with Slam that one time led to an internship right after. This is before I even finished high school. And lo and behold, today I am the editor-in-chief and the head of talent partnerships at Slam. Over a decade plus later, almost 2 decades later. And so I always like to tell the story because when we think of mentors and when we think of people, and when we think of coaches and trainers, sometimes we get so caught up on the X's and O and the basketball stuff, but mentorship and coaches and having people around you that want to motivate you and want to push you goes beyond the basketball stuff. The basketball stuff is great, right? That's what pulls the kids in. That's what pulls all of us. That's what pulls the community in. But in reality, if you can take those same lessons that apply to everyday life, that's how you win, right? That's how you win off the court. And so I'm forever grateful to Big Apple Basketball, Jason Curry, the whole family, for everything they've done. And, the fact that, 25 years later, it's still out there, right? Jason's still out there weekends, summers, working with players, high school players, college players. I think speaks dividend to, his larger calling in life, right? And utilizing basketball to impact lives beyond, the basketball court.